What's up, folks? Welcome to another edition of the Critical Beard Podcast.
Critical Beard Podcast.
I'm one of your hosts, the Cardinal, and this is my other host.
I'm one of the other hosts, Meatball. It's me.
The Meat Man.
Brought to you by nondescript drinking water. It's for your mouth.
You have to cover up the the label. You're like, gotta blur it out. We gotta blur it out.
I mean, come on.
You know, that company's going to come down on us. We're here to talk to you a little bit about a few things that are happening, and we're going to talk about a big old game that we both just finished, and for the first time, we're going to talk about that. But we're going to run a little segment that we always talk about, and we do it, and we gab, and we do a thing, and we say, go, "Hey, what you playing?"
My gosh. Are you okay?
No.
What am I playing?
I've never been okay.
Animal Crossing still. I'm gonna be playing. You might as well just like not, because I'm gonna be playing that for a year. So I mean, there's no point. Really.
Like, hey,
it's
man.
always gonna have a slot. So
That's what she said. He said.
Weird.
Someone said it.
Someone said that. Yeah, I just started Future Connected. I'm probably about like halfway through-ish from what I'm gathering. It's okay. It's okay.
I gathered that most people thought it was either maybe not super. Well, we'll get into it, but we'll get into the like deepness of it when we.
Yeah, but it's a new epilogue that was included within the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles.
Xenoblade Chronicles.
Bleenozade.
What else are you playing?
That's it. I mean, here and there, I'm playing some NES games on my Switch here and there. I played a little bit of Vice. Did you ever play Vice on the NES?
It sounds really familiar. Is it like
super awesome?
Top down or something?
No, it's one of those multi-genre smash-ups like Worm, where it's like, this level is a first-person shoot 'em up. This section is a side scroller. This section is, it's kind of like those multi.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Fun. It's fun. It's pretty tight.
Pretty tight. That's tight.
It's pretty tight.
Pretty cool. I like to hear that.
I was seeing if you thought that I froze. It's like, did our internet freeze? No, it's just someone being a weirdo.
I want to start doing that. Just for people who are just like,
talking. Just keep on like when you're talking to someone else.
Well, like, or if people are listening to it like a podcast, like they're just throwing it on their phone and setting it down and like doing something else, and they're like look over at the phone and they're like,
yeah,
is it?
I do that. This one YouTuber I watched, the lore runner, he thinks before he talks, which is pretty rare these days.
I don't know what that.
I know it's super weird, but like he'll just stop talking for like 5-10 seconds, and I have to look at my phone like, is he? Oh yeah, he's just thinking.
He's just like,
yeah, he's just pondering before he makes a statement. Like, people still do that? What?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not famous, because I say so much stuff without thinking, and then people these days, they overanalyze everything. So you're like, oh, I didn't mean that at all. like
it doesn't matter. You're not even famous. You're canceled. Sorry, bro.
So this one dude, he tweeted about The Last of Us 2, and he compared it to, because he was just like, he was like, it was such a harrowing game, and like, at the end of it, like, I don't know if I'll ever go back and watch and see it. It's kind of like, he's like, for me, it's like compare it to like Schindler's List, because the way like it made him feel, it's like, I'm glad I saw it, but like, I don't know if I could go back and do this again, because there's just so much, heartbreak in it.
I feel that way about Joker. I'm like, that was good, but I don't feel like I ever want to rewatch that again.
I could rewatch it, but just because I'm very tickled by Joaquin's performance in that. Just for him, just to watch him be insane.
Yeah, it was.
But
that's another video.
So he posted that, and then Jason Schreier from Kotaku fame, who.
Oh my gosh, Kotaku!
Yeah, he's like,
how do you follow?
Are you seriously comparing survival action game to the Holocaust? And the guy was like, No, oh my god! I was just saying what the way that movie made me feel was like the way that I felt at the end of The Last of Us. It made me feel like empty and like fucking, like sorrowful. He wasn't like, and this guy, like, he's literally, you can't be serious. And this guy who said this stuff is like a known, like, very like loving dude who doesn't really like, say anything negative about, and he's not like a person on the other side of the coin as Jason Schreier, but like, yeah, he just attacked him, man. He was just like, so you're comparing the Holocaust? He's like, I'm not talking about the Holocaust, I'm talking about a movie, man. I'm talking about the way it made me feel. It was like, oh man, it blew up.
What were we talking about again?
If I was ever famous, that would be a bad thing, because I don't know, I make comparisons all the time. I read that guy's tweet and I was like, okay, what's the problem? What's the problem here? So yeah,
have you ever been online?
No. What is it?
Basically, it's just coagulated assholery. Just if it could just coagulate into one form, and then delivered straight into your face. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I've never been on the internet. I want to try it.
Yeah, we deliver this podcast to people through the mail. So.
Yeah, you get a little envelope. I love it.
So that's what I'm playing. I don't know how we got off that topic, bro.
You're bad.
You're bad. What
bad.
are you playing?
I am playing. Playing Xeno. I see it online. I hear people refer to it as Xenoblade Chronicles, not Xeno, but Xeno sounds cooler. Xeno.
I think Xeno is
Xeno.
The British European kind of way of saying it.
Yeah,
but
I guess
we're American, right? We say Xeno, like xenomorph or xenophobia.
Xeno.
Yeah.
Xeno.
Well, they say Z for Z. What the hell is that?
Oh, that's wrong.
That doesn't even make any. That doesn't even begin to make any sense.
Classic.
Get out of here.
Classic European wrongness.
Speak English. England.
Yeah, England. Get off your high horse.
You may have invented it. But
drive a car for once.
It's. So what you're
driving on the other side of the road, you idiot.
Idiots. Gosh, you're not even in Australia,
Yeah, get out of here.
Which is on the other side of the world, so it makes sense. I'm not dumb.
Yeah, it's like the toilets. They go back.
It's like the toilets. It's like the toilets, right?
It's the toilets.
So what, you're doing like some side quests or something?
No,
my arm keeps disappearing.
Yeah, I went back and I'm just sort of like running around listening to the music. Like, that music's so good. Yeah. That's like one of the best soundtracks of all time. We'll get back. We'll get into it more. Also started up Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country, because I had never played it and I've heard that.
Not gonna play Future Connected, bro?
I'm going to. I'm taking
Connected.
Yeah, I'm going to get into it. I think it's the reception about it that like is kind of.
You spend too much time online, bro.
I've never been. I literally just said I've never been online. So I was just talking about the mail.
You're seriously doing.
I subscribed.
Just enjoy the game. Don't care about what. Don't paint your preconception.
I wanted to jump. Personally, it was more so I wanted to see how like different that other engine looked, and I wanted to jump into Torna. I'm not going to play like the whole thing right now, but the game's also really short. Just like Future Connected and Torna together are not even half the length of freaking Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, but I'm playing
Future
that.
Connected is like 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah, it's about how I think that's about how long Torna Golden Country is. I think it's a little longer, maybe 20.
I heard Torna was like 20, but still,
yeah.
I mean, that's like a good fraction of the main game.
Also, I'm playing that remake, that PSP, because I got a PSP finally. I got all the pieces for it. It was a nightmare getting everything
Pieces
together.
of P.
Pieces of P. And I've always wanted to play that the remake of Dracula X, or I mean the Rondo of Blood.
Yeah,
that's on there.
Rondo Blood.
It's pretty cool, man. I like it. Just the first 3 levels are literally my 3 favorite tracks from Castlevania. So it's just it's just a good time. Yeah, playing that. Game is hard as shit. And then finally, I'm playing Pokemon the Isle
Slow
of
it
Armor
down, dude. Slow it down.
expansion. That's what I'm mainly playing right now. I'm playing the Isle of Armor.
You play too many games.
Big thing. I'll probably drop a video on this channel later about it, like more of my impressions. But I'm
Check
really
it out.
enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it. I think it's actually most of it is better than the core game. It seems like a lot of stuff that they just like improved on. So we'll post another video about that later after I play a little bit more. But I love it. I love it. It's so good so far.
Pokemon is for children. Okay.
But so I was gonna say we just jump into the topic because
we got a little bit of news.
We got a tiny bit of news.
Tiny bit of news.
What are the news?
We got a couple today. Well, I didn't really write anything down, so we're just gonna have to wing it. I know, right? I didn't write anything down. Who is this person?
Who are you?
Who are you? I thought
it's
you
not.
liked writing stuff.
Honestly, it's not like anything too crazy.
No. I mean, since last week, what we got? Star Wars Squadron was announced. Squadrons. We got Star Wars Squadrons.
So we talked about that, but we didn't have gameplay yet.
Yeah, I don't even think we talked about. Well, I don't think we didn't talk about it last week because it wasn't out.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I mentioned that was
at the very
end. Yeah, it was Paper Mario and Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh yeah. But yeah, we got a gameplay trailer. It looks good. I like how in the trailer they even like it's sad that they have to mention this, but they're like, you can get these cosmetic things from just playing the game.
Yeah,
like it's some sort of
it's
like
EA. They have to say that now.
Crazy. I know, it's so sad.
It's like
I hate that that's like when people hear that they think of it automatically as a plus when it should be like the norm.
Unless it's like just a free to play game that just like completely survives on that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean,
the fact ESO, is, I'm fine with that on the ESO because it's free subscription.
Or like stuff like even Fortnite or whatever. Right? Like that's how the game sustains itself. Like, but anyways, I was at first I was kind of skeptical because it looks like you can't play in third person. It's first person only ship battle, and I'm so used to Rogue Squadron and Star Wars Starfighter, where you're seeing your ship, and I love to look at the ship, and I don't like to play those games generally, but in first person. But like the way, as soon as they show the detail of the cockpits and like how you can customize it, and that person like has, because I'm over here like, man, I really wish I could play this in third person. And then I see like the little Ewok bobblehead on their dashboard, like their whole like customized thing. And I was like, I am never playing in third person ever again. Like
doing those Ewoks, but
it was so cool.
It did make me want to like. It did make me want to be like, oh, I kind of want VR just for this.
Absolutely had the same thought. I was like, I just want to play this. Can I get a VR light?
Hey, I'm sure. During the PS5 life, like probably in the early PS5 life, they're gonna release like a PSVR Lite, something like the Oculus
Quest,
where it's just
they
like
need to
not a lot of wires, just the headset, and
because that was my biggest problem with VR was the damn wires, man. It took me out of it. It was so tethered, and I would even be like playing one of the like Skyrim or something, and I'd be like in my chair pivoting around, and then like next thing I knew, like the wires around my neck.
You don't play in a chair, man. You stand up like a man when you play VR. Sit in a chair. What are you, a baby?
I was playing cockfighting video games.
Oh, okay. Definitely a man game. Cockfighting.
Dogfighting.
Oh, dogfighting. Okay. But yes, it looked surprisingly.
Pardon my France.
I mean, they should definitely pardon themselves. Okay, they have a problem with France. Okay, France.
Listen to me in France.
Get out of here, France. You know what you did. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, the story mode wasn't really expanded on it well. It was just like, there's a story mode. Next, we have.
I mean, it seems like to me, it's one of those things where it's just adding a little value to it. Because if it was just a multiplayer game, I think a lot of people would be upset because it's.
I would be upset. I'd be like,
yeah,
can't. But I would just want to play offline. Which I mean, I'm not expecting some. Actually, I don't really want like some sort of in-depth story because I mean, the Rogue Squadron games, there wasn't much story. It was just like, here's a mission briefing. Here's how it connects to a loose story arc. Maybe
fly in here and
eliminate
the fighters, and then drop the bombs over here.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not looking for. I'm not looking for freaking Casablanca or something.
I am. I want Casablanca in space.
Casablanca in space? I think they made that.
Spaceblanca.
Spaceblanca.
Yeah.
Space and blankets.
So, and then they also dropped, I don't know, it was the EA reveal. Is the whole company now called EA Sports? Is that what I don't understand. Is it not just called EA anymore?
It's in the game.
Oh, well, where did that come from, man? They showed off a bunch of stuff I don't care about. And then they showed a, like, sort of tech demo of, like, Battlefield and Dragon Age. And I'm just
yeah, I forgot Dragon Age was like...
Dragon
Age is coming.
Dragon Age, like, forever ago. And they still only showed a tech demo? I was like, come on. Do y'all not have any... No. That's like your only, like, one of your... You have, like, 5 things that are going for you, EA. And that is...
Well, it's Dragon Age is one of the last things that they haven't ruined yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Within public perception. I mean, I didn't hate Andromeda, but in public perception, that was
yeah. Andromeda may be a little overblown because it wasn't done by the like core team. It was like the side team, so that wasn't really. I don't feel like that was necessarily EA ruined it. I think it was just like it was not as strong of a team. But
I think it was a collective effort of not making that game great.
Well, yeah, they didn't have like the.
And you really think EA is gonna treat a B team well when they don't treat their A teams well? Come on, man.
Well, their A team was working on Anthem.
Oh, that turned out super good.
So good. The best game I've ever played.
Any game that's been out for a year. How long has that game been out? It's been for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
I have it. I don't know.
It's on sale for like $5 or something. It's incredible.
It had a great art style.
It
had a really cool.
Sure.
The visuals were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The actual gameplay was even cool, but there was just like nothing there. It was like this big giant empty shell of a world.
Yeah, it's like a pretty painting. You can't do a lot with a pretty painting except just look at it and be like, "Yep, that sure is a pretty painting."
They nailed the flight. They nailed the feeling of being Iron Man, but like they like drop the ball on the part that seems like it would be a little easier, which is just like mission variety and like.
That was probably the actual design was probably the last on the.
Yeah, I put about 15 hours.
EA,
Skate.
So I guess that was their E3 this year.
Sure. I mean,
whatever the hell.
We don't. Everyone just goes.
No one wants EA.
Please don't fuck up Star Wars. Please don't fuck up Star Wars. Please don't fuck up Star Wars. And then they didn't fuck up Star Wars so far. So now we're like, okay, that was a good conference.
But that's pretty sad.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
That's pretty sad when the highlight of their conference was, you don't even have to pay for these cosmetics. That was the highlight of the entire.
Some of that stuff does look pretty cool, man. I'm excited to customize my pilot and like.
I can't wait to be like a cool alien guy.
I'd be like a Twi'lek, fucking like red Twi'lek driving a fucking TIE interceptor. Like, come on.
There better be a cheat code that I could drive a car in space.
Just everyone's flying on fucking X-wings and TIE.
And then you have like a lowrider.
You just have a Toyota Corolla. Like,
oh man, Pintos in space. Yeah, I remember that cheat code from Rogue Squadron where like you could fly as a car. It was just the stupidest thing. I'm like, this is great.
Why is this here? Remember when developers would like, go beyond to like make their games like it was like because cheat codes were essentially like they were done with the game, they were done with development, and they were like, let's add some more stuff in here just to fuck around. Like, why not? Like,
why not? I really miss cheat codes. Like, I feel like that the whole like Game Genie legal battle in the late 90s, early 2000s really ruined it for everyone. Because it's like, this game is, like, as long as you're not changing the code and reselling it, once you buy a copy of that game, it's yours. If you want to alter the code to create cheats, it's within your rights. But
then you could buy the controller, the like Super Nintendo controller with like the little like auto switches and stuff. Yeah, I love that because there were some games where like you could literally just have like Contra, you could turn the fire like constantly firing, so you wouldn't even have to press the fire button.
My favorite was the slow-mo, which was just pause and unpause really fast.
Oh, just like in some games it would literally.
It's like, do you want seizures? Here's the seizure button.
some games take forever to pause, so it would be like,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding. Like, this sure is slow mo.
Times have changed.
So
what
yeah,
other news? We got Cyberpunk got pushed
Cyberpunk
back.
got delayed. I don't have any feelings about that.
Whatever. It'll come out when it comes out.
It's the same thing with, Zelda and Metal Gear and CD Projekt Red games, like all those games that are always delayed all the time because they are eventually going to be one of the best games ever made. So just let it happen. Like, just keep going, whatever. Delay it as much as you want, but just, maybe stop saying that it's fine. Cause like a month ago, they were like, well, we're on schedule. And then they were like, it's delayed. And you're like, just say it's delayed. Just delay it. Don't be scared.
And everyone's gonna be happy. Don't worry.
We're all gonna live, okay?
I don't think anything else really
happened,
actually. But
so you have beaten Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch, Anselmo. Is that an accurate statement? Am I saying the right thing?
Yes.
You can talk.
Yes.
And when you completed the
there's
Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch, did you have fun?
Did I have fun when I beat it, or did I have fun collectively playing the whole thing?
Just after you beat it, like, did you go have fun in something else? Did you like play dice? Or dominoes?
Went down.
Did you play craps?
Yeah, I played some craps.
Like, what did you do after the game?
I went down to the local bodega and rolled some bones.
Is that what they do at the bodegas?
I guess. I don't know. I've seen it in
rolled
movies.
Bones.
I think. Or no, they play bones.
Wait, they just play.
I don't know the bones. I don't know.
No, speaking of that, I did play a little bit of the Clubhouse.
Cool.
The Clubhouse stuff. It's pretty cool, man. It's like just a bunch of fucking like cool, like the presentation is very clean and very like well done, like the UI and everything, and it's all very nice. Anyways, I did play Bones over there.
Wow.
So
wow.
I also
had fun.
finished.
I loved the ending.
I finished it as well as you. We both were kind of in the same boat. I think you got a little further than me initially. Back when the Wii version came out, you got to. This is kind of going to be all spoilery here, right?
This is spoilery, okay?
Are we going to? Yeah, because we've already done impressions. So we're gonna just.
This is unless you have something new to say in terms of like, music, sound, voice, graphics, stuff, which I don't have a lot to add. Other than that, it's just got better and better.
Good.
Well, apart from the inside of the Mechanis, which.
So okay, from here on, we're going to be spoiling the shit out of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
Spoilers.
You don't want to hear a spoiler about Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Destruction Derby. Then leave. Go away.
Get out of
Go
here.
away from me. Walk away from me.
Walk away. Walk away.
All right.
Walk away.
Spoilers start now.
Blah 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 blah.
So let's start from the. So you started going into the ending.
So yeah, I liked how one of my favorite things about the game's kind of story structure is like the first half, maybe not half the game, first like 2/3 of the game, like they especially in the beginning they with Fiora's death. Fiora! Like they really do a good job of making you think that she's actually dead, because like most badly written foreshadowed like twist stories like that will put really blatant like she's not actually dead kind of like, you know what I mean? They'll be really blatant with their like she might not be dead, but like the first 2/3 of the game, the whole point of the journey is to get revenge because she's dead. So there's like no way that like be like well, she might still be alive.
Well, and not only that,
But
but
the
they were
game doesn't.
literally at the beginning they were eating people, right? So they were like literally, like from their perspective, they were just like swallowing them and
they're gone. They're dead.
And then you play that boss where he talks about how his fucking knife hands, slid through her flesh like butter. And so you're like, holy shit! If I thought she wasn't dead then, she's definitely dead now.
And then like you finally get you defeat Metal Vase, Moonka, which is a great villain. I loved
Moonka. He was the obvious villain that I liked. There's the other obvious villain that wasn't as good, but she was still, like you said, had to be.
But she's just like she wasn't even a villain. She was just like a disciple of the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
She was just like help. Like
it was just like whatever. You're just hired help. It doesn't matter if you're like.
I love when they're like this is the council, and they're like, hello, I am obviously good character number 1. Hello, I am obviously good character number 2. Hello, I'm good character number 3, and then hello,
I'm obviously evil character number 5.
There's no way I would betray everyone here.
Oh, your finger looks so weird.
It's just like,
I love
who talks like that.
Like that's one that's probably one of my favorite parts about the Xeno series. They always have really good villains. Like the villains are always
this
like
one
Metal
was like
Face.
so multi-layered and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was like, wait, who's the villain now? Because like you kill one, like when you kill Mumbar.
I love you kill Metal Face. You're like, that was it, and it's so anticlimactic because you pretty much because it's like Shulk sees the vision of him dying, and he tries to save Metal Face. The Metal Face eats it, and you're like, whoa, Metal Face is.
And then he falls, and I've always said in anything where you see someone fall, they're probably still alive because they just.
I've seen Star Wars. Okay,
yeah,
I played Final Fantasy. Falls don't kill people. Okay,
falls never kill people. But then during his fall, he just explodes.
Yeah,
like they really want us to know that he's absolutely out of
so it's
the
like
picture.
this really cool subversion of like, and honestly, kind of it was an underwhelming defeat of Metal Face. I enjoyed it though, and then there was a twist of Fiora being alive. So it was like whole first 2/3 of the game are like kill Metal Face because he killed Fiora, and then it's just like Metal Face is a pushover and Fiora's alive. And it's like, oh, what?
And we all knew. I mean, Mumkar himself was just a pushover, right? Like he was just he was going to do whatever.
Up to that point, he was the only villain we're shown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so
apart from like the mysterious gold face,
I didn't catch that was like Mumkar because I didn't before we realized that there were people in those things.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, his voice does sound familiar, and Dunban even says, he goes, that voice, and I'm like, yeah, that voice, and he's got claws. Is that fucking Mumkar in there? And then of course when you find out, but like. I did think when they showed the scene before, when you heard the woman speaking and you saw the like body of the like machine woman or whatever being kind of like they're like soul transplant. They were talking about soul transplant and like and the new body is ready and all that stuff. I did think I was like, is that Fiora? Like I was like, is that I kind of. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. Is the reason people were so up in arms about that IGN review was because the very beginning of the review, they show you playing the game with Fiora in your party, but she's all mech'd out.
Wow.
And people were like, yes. So not only did they mispronounce all the fucking names, they showed like, hey, that's a late game spoiler.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll agree with that because like a video review, you never show mid to late footage. You only show opening footage.
And it's easy because the opening footage of that game is like 30 hours. You have 30 hours of stuff to show. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's just lazy, man. That's just lazy.
So that was like the other big thing. It wasn't the score. It was like the fact that they just mispronounced everyone's names. They showed a big spoiler in there, and it's just like, did we even play this game at all?
That's just another reason why you should not follow IGN, which I don't know why you do.
I like some of the personalities on there. I don't always,
get rid of it.
Anyways,
But yes, I liked I liked that like the game effectively ended at that point. You're like, okay, Bumcar
dies. Fiora's
but then
alive.
like my brain was like, but what about that gold face?
Killer. Gold face killer. And then so they fall onto the beach and
I loved that.
Because someone even said it was they were like posting, they're like, I'm in Sword Valley. Does this game even get good? Like nothing's even happening in this game. And I'm like, okay, for one, a lot of stuff has happened. But like two, like, you know, like Sword Valley is literally when shit starts to happen, like one after another, like crazy shit. And so yeah,
I kind of understand because both of us pretty much stopped playing the last time we played through around Sword Valley.
Yeah, I stopped playing at the end of Prison Island, which is right before Sword Valley, I think. So yeah, it was kind of like.
But there's one problem with the. I mean, I enjoyed that it took so long for like this A plot to finally finish with Metal Face, but I feel like it did go on a little too long. I feel like they could have like cut some of those areas and then like put some of those resources into making the second half of the game a little more visually interesting, because it was like that first 2/3 it was like, this is really varied environments, it's really cool, but then you're like, okay,
it's like
going to go anywhere. It's
like the first half.
Am I just going for revenge? Like I feel like it's like okay, this is really long for just a revenge story.
It's like the first half had these like really interesting environments, but like the plot wasn't as quite as thick. And then once the plot gets super thick, the environments immediately get.
And I feel like
less interesting.
That's kind of again that is a Xeno. I don't know if he does this thing intentionally, but that's like a Xeno thing where it's like he creates these usually because he's too ambitious with one half of the game, so the other half of the game suffers. Like, because it's like once you beat the first 2/3 of the game, which are shallow but longer and more varied, that last third is extremely dense narrative wise. Like really dense, but there's not really like there's 3 locations. There's the inside of Makanas, there's the inside of Bionis, and then there's the inside of Prison Island.
Yeah,
and then there's like the inside Zanza's memory, which was amazing.
When you were like, is this isn't some fucking cosmic fucking thing where there's like a fucking artifact and like a personified, and I replied with ...
Yeah, I knew I was right. I'm like, I played Xeno before. I know that there's some sort of
we're going to space. Come on, we're gonna go to space now.
Gonna go to space. I was very excited about how it. I mean, I can't really say a lot because it would spoil Gears and Saga. Mostly Gears. It would spoil. It connects a lot to Gears. It has some of the same.
I did stumble across a video about they were talking about how Gears and 1 and 2 are connected, but only like at the very end of the games. But I didn't click on that video because I was like, because I'm about to. Because not only because with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I never finished it, but I'm like at the very, very, very end of that game. And for some reason, I never just like pulled the trigger and finished it. And I think it is because those games are just inherently long-winded. And so if anything else comes out, like, that it's like, I want to, but honestly, Xenoblade Chronicles reminds me a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 in a weird way, because it's one of my favorite stories in video game history, probably. It's just like a great, amazing, brilliant plot line with all these twists and turns and great like acting and
I mean, I know you're talking about Red
Dead. But man, the thing about the difference for me personally is that I enjoy the Xeno gameplay loop so much. The Xenoblade gameplay loop of that battle system is just so much fun to me. I love setting up that like every time. It never fucking gets old, like getting up to an enemy. And once I have Shulk, number 1 Shulk is my party controlled. You have Duncan and Fiora, and I literally have it set up to where I just
Charlotte represent.
I have these guys. You were using Charlotte instead of Fiora.
I like having a healer on my team.
Yeah,
every RPG I always have a healer.
I had to switch it out because basically I'm running it with like all 3 attackers.
Yeah.
And I'm using
some of those
I'm
later bosses. You need some healing, man.
I'm using Shulk as the healer essentially.
What?
So like, what I did is I put a ton. I had his like ether shit equipped, his ether line, and so he has a bunch of like healing up stuff. And then I had him equipped with. I had every party member equipped with a shit ton of the tension up stuff, which like makes your party just like constant. Like I had it to where I was constantly getting a chain attack, like almost every other move, and so I would. Basically, the way I got, because I beat the game at like level 76 when that was pretty under level because the last boss is like level 85 or something.
Yeah, I think I beat it at 77. No, yeah, I think it was like 77 or 78, something like that.
I would have him in this chain lock where I would literally just like chain attack, and it was like, and then I'd use Shulk's fucking the searing edge, the pink attack where he'd like shoot out the thing and like. Open them up for the break, and then I'd use Dunban's like electric gutbuster or whatever, or steel strike, whatever the hell it's called, the little green fist, and then that like topples them, and then I go to Fiora, and I had her use that thing where she jumps in the air and shoots out electricity, but what it also does is it increases your party gauge. And so but it also inflicts daze on a toppled enemy. So it makes the enemy dazed, and then your party meter goes up. And so then it just like keeps rotating. So I would just like stun lock these fucking dudes, and I would just like, that's how I got through the ending. Is a little easier, I feel like, than some people, because I saw online a lot of people were like, God damn, that last boss is so hard, and I only died.
Yeah,
like
the second phase was tough, but I still feel like that disciple, the Telethia, that was the hardest fight in the game for me.
The fight with the chick, what's her name?
Yeah, Laurentia.
Yeah.
That was a tough fight for me. It took me probably like four attempts to take
I got killed a couple times fighting because I didn't realize what I was supposed to do in some of those, where like, and like you're fighting a Telethia and you just start missing for some reason. You're like, why am I missing?
You're like, oh yeah, I need to
purge.
Like,
oh, I've got to use that goddamn move, like that
I never used
for
a
million years ago.
Yeah, that I never used I only used for Telethia, and there hasn't been a Telethia for like 30 hours.
They make it very clear, and they make an entire story beat out of it. Like, this is going to be important later on in the game. You should probably remember this part of the game. And I'm just like, duh. But it's just because when my sword, like when I get the Minato ability, I'm like, okay, is my party in trouble? Shield. Am I not in trouble? Buster sword. Like that's all I ever use it for. So it's like, much.
Yeah, I use shield and then Buster, and
Cyclone was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool if you needed to topple someone, or if you had multiple creatures that could be toppled. It was pretty cool, but that was like extremely rare moment of having multiple toppleable.
Do you remember the most damage you ever did, like in a chain attack? Because I love that, like that number that shows up at the end.
It's so
like the best person in the world. It's just like
I don't even remember my biggest. I like I said, like my team was never as damage heavy. I was more of a.
You had a balance.
I usually have either a balanced team or a more support focused team when I make teams.
Mine was like meant to be so furious on the attack front that it was like once I got to the gauge, it was just a repeat. So I couldn't I could constantly attack. It's so fun. Oh man, it was so cool. But that's what I'm saying. Like that gameplay loop of, but you can obviously you can play.
There's so many options. Yeah, there's so many options of different.
And all the characters
play different,
and they're all cool. Like Ricky has so many bizarre moves, but they're actually really effective. Like status effects and just weird shit. And then like Melia is your classic like mage, but she has that thing where she like collects the like fucking balls of energy around her and like, shoot them and like. And then I guess my least favorite character is probably Ryan, even though I still like him.
Yeah, I like Ryan. I played with him for a while just for narrative purposes.
How bad is your shoulder? You know what I mean?
Have you seen that thing he carries around and fights with?
That's true. I guess that's a good point.
He carries around a giant slab of steel all the time.
You know, Ryan, you could use a regular side sword.
No,
way.
but I kept him in
Shulk.
my party for a long time, just for narrative purposes, because Shulk and Ryan. I'm like, these
That's
guys.
why I felt like Shulk, Fiora, and Dunban were such like a good thing. But
Dunban.
like after a while, Duncan. After a while,
Duncan.
After almost every battle, they started repeating this line that was like, Shulk would be like, "Man, you guys are awesome. I wish I had a real family." And
That's so sad. What the hell?
And then Fiora would go, "Silly Shulk, you are part of our family. You're like our baby brother." He's like, "Baby brother." That was like they would repeat that whole thing after like every other battle.
I turned off my in-game voice like hour 3. I was like, no, I ain't having
this. They
this.
love their screaming people in combat shit like in that game.
I hate it.
It gets old after a while. I don't hate it at first, like because I do kind of like when people just yell out their moves that they're about to do. I don't know why. I think it's so awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun for a couple of hours, and then it's
I
like,
wish we could do that in real life.
For real life,
just
I could do this for real life.
I wish we could really like in real life when you were like in a fight or something, you would like just say like punch. You like say the word before you did it.
You can. I don't know what's stopping you.
Super kick.
Or you could be like Metal Gear Solid V. Rocket punch you.
Rocket punch.
I love that. I was like, people like actually complained about that because it felt out of place.
What?
I'm like, oh, hello, newcomers to the series.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Did they?
Like, you guys are.
Have
silly.
you met Hideo Kojima before?
Yeah. Well, V brought in a lot of new people.
Yeah. Play a little bit of Zone of Enders, bud.
Yeah.
But yeah, so overall, I'm other than a few, like the some of the voices can get annoying. Some of the later environments can become empty.
I mean,
some of the early plot points are few and far between.
I liked the concept of like, okay, when you're on Bionis, like you're moving horizontally. You're always moving upwards in a horizontal way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when you get to Mechonis, it's just pure vertical. I like that concept. Like I like the whole plus like cross like Z and X. It's funny.
Yeah.
But I liked the because I mean mechanical and biological life are wholly different. So like one you're moving horizontal on one life form and you're moving vertical on the other. Okay, I like that concept. It's pretty cool. But it was the same enemies over and over. It was like nothing interesting really happened except Charla and her boyfriend. And I'm like, I'm doing this for like 15 hours. I'm just like, this is super boring, guys. It was way too long. It was way too long.
I can totally agree with that. I didn't have as big of an issue with it just because I just enjoy the combat that much. I was like grinding, I guess. So I was kind of like,
you're a grinder. You're a grinder.
Oh, I have a grinder.
Okay. You like sandwiches?
I love them. I love the meat, grindy meat sandwich.
Gross.
Yeah. So the whole game for me, I will say, I mean, this is one of the best RPGs I've ever played.
It's definitely the best JRPG of the past 2 generations, hands down.
Yeah. Last 2. So you're saying PS4 and PS3?
Yeah.
The generation. Yeah, I'm trying to think of another one. I mean, I loved Final Fantasy 15. I really did.
You like your Persona too, so.
I love Persona, but see, okay, Persona's even. So I have a problem with these games. Like, so there's Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2. There's Red Dead Redemption 2, and there's Persona 5. Those are those games right there. They need to just stop being so long and just trim some goddamn fat.
I know.
That's ridiculous. The problem
are too long.
The only thing is with Xenoblade, it feels a little bit less because I enjoy the loop a lot more.
Yeah.
I enjoy getting the new piece of armor.
You mean the gameplay tricked you into not minding slog.
Exactly,
but the slog shouldn't be there regardless.
And with Persona, it does do that. But see, Persona is not an open world game. Persona is not an explorative game. So
well, it is. It's a social exploration.
When Fire Emblem Three Houses also has this problem as well. When you know that the game is that long because you've heard everyone talk about how long it is, it makes you just not want to do it because you're like, it's so good. This game is so good. These games, Red Dead, Persona, Xenoblade, like they're some like 10 out of 10 games in a lot of respects. But like, why? Like most games are too short, but you guys are crazy.
Talking about most games are too short. I feel like modern games are just too long.
Most people think that most games are too short. I like short
people games. Are idiots.
That's one of the things I liked about Final Fantasy VII Remake is that it was a JRPG that was something I could beat in like 30 or 40 hours.
Yeah, like a JRPG used to be.
Yeah, like because like
40 hours to beat it, be happy.
Back in original 7 and Chrono Trigger and stuff like that, those games were only like 20 or 30 hours long, maybe 40. Like I don't know how long Xenogears is, but I'm about to say
it's long. I mean, when I first beat it in 1999 or whatever, it was like 128 hours.
And see, what's the creator's name?
Tetsuya Takahashi.
Yeah, so Takahashi.
Well, it's Takahashi and his wife.
Takahashi, and he shares a lot of similarities with Takahashi, Kojima, and Yoko Taro. Really remind me of each other because they are all three batshit crazy, and they're super high concept, and they will do whatever the fuck they want. And they don't care.
They've always been I don't know much about the Nier director in terms of his past, but like Takahashi and Kojima, they've always been at the whims of these larger companies. And like they've always wanted to do these large, high concept stuff, but like the company's like, well, that's really risky. We'll give you this amount of time and resources, but if you don't finish it, then and then he's like, well, that's not going to stop me. I'm still gonna do something ridiculously high concept. But, I like that.
I don't know, man. I think some of these games too, they almost like don't get. I know, like obviously Metal Gear gets the credit because of its digestibility in the Western audience.
But like it's digestible on the front.
But like Nier and Xenoblade, even though Nier Automata has gained kind of this Donnie Darko-esque like fucking indie support after its release, it kind of like it was one of those games that came out and nobody played it, but then it like
Automata?
Yeah,
that was a big game.
When it first came out, I mean, it was a platinum game, but I mean, it didn't garner like the attention it has now.
I feel like. Because if you compare it to all the other Nier games and Drakengard, who the hell talks about Nier 1 and Drakengard? No one.
A lot of people still talk about Nier 1. Most people don't talk about Drakengard.
They shouldn't because it's really not that good of a game.
Weirdly enough, I played Drakengard 1 and I fucking loved that game.
Yeah, I didn't like those games.
They weren't great, but they weren't great like as games, but like they were just like I don't know, they were just crazy.
They were.
But it's because he got platinum to make his game. Finally, he was like, "We want you to do the combat," and they're like, "Okay," because that's been the part that everyone's been like, the combat in these games is really like subpar.
Yeah, but the thing about Takahashi is finally just like the Nier director, given enough control to, hire or get together with Platinum. I mean, Takahashi is finally able. With the help of Nintendo, thank God Nintendo picked up Monolith Soft, because their last two attempts with Xenogears and Xenosaga, they both failed. Xenogears was an unfinished game. He didn't even get to finish the game. Xenosaga was an unfinished saga. It was originally planned as a 6-part saga. He was only able to make 3. So Xenoblade Chronicles is his the first time he's ever been able to finish an actual game. Like, it's weird playing through all of it and be like, this feels finished.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I have to go.
Beginning
yeah, like I don't. When I finished the game, I didn't feel like, oh man, I should go on the wiki and find out more information. I'm like, no, all the information was there. Like with Xenogears, it's like you have to read a freaking Bible just to like
and
discover
that's
the finer points of the plot.
one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was just the Xenoblade Chronicles is probably the most complex story I played in a game that didn't become convoluted. Where I was like you just said, you're like, what? Do I have to like go like look at this?
Yeah,
like,
do I need to go figure out something?
It borderlined it several times, but it never quite jumped over, and it always like it still ended on a point where I was like, okay, I totally understand what's happening. Like there
are a few finer points that just aren't explored on, like what the heck a Monado is anyway.
It's Greek.
It's Greek. No, but like okay, like what's her name? The Mechonis, the
lady
Maneth,
Lady
like
Maneth.
that. Yeah, Lady Maneth. Lady Maneth had a Monado, and Shulk had a. What? It's like. I even tried to look it up on like wikis, and I'm like,
Alvis is the Monado.
That makes sense.
So I guess they are the soul. It's like they're like the. So if those people are like the gods of their own planet or whatever, you know, like they're titans, then the Monado is like the soul or whatever. Like if they're like you know, or the.
So Alvis is he presents himself as a computer program, like an evolved computer program.
Shulk.
Okay.
I like the voice actor. He was very like.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
He was so like flat, but like
he was flat, but it was still like mysterious. It's
yeah,
like, you're flat, but why?
Shulk. He really hold that K out. Shulk.
So in Xenogears, there's the Zohar, which is like this. But it's the monolith from 2001. Let's just call it what it is. Takahashi was like, I want to make a game about 2001, but not about 2001 at all. So imagine humans found this monolith, and they were able to use this monolith to. They found out they were able to basically manipulate. Well, it's kind of different for the monolith in a sense that like they were able to use it to collapse infinite realities into one reality that you want. Basically, use your willpower to make anything you want happen. Because in a scientific sense, it collapses all possible realities into one reality, which is the reality you want. And they made this computer program around it to help facilitate that. My theory, Alvis is said computer program, but that's just a theory.
But so is the name Alvis? No. Is the name Alvis ever used, or is it just
no?
I was almost waiting for them to say that it was like an anagram for something. You know what I mean?
It probably was. Even though Takahashi generally isn't a fan of anagrams, surprisingly enough, except for Cosmos. Cosmos is like the only thing that really has an anagram, but he's not like Kojima. Kojima loves his anagram. Everything has an anagram, even things that don't have explained anagrams.
Like I do like the Pokemon like aspect of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, how you get those you know, fucking crystals, and then you know they turn into a blade, and then you have the like there's like these super rare ones that have like a crazy chance of getting, and Cosmos is one of them.
Yeah.
And I got her, and I was just like, hey, is this the chick from Xeno Saga, right? And I was like, how is she in this game? What's happening?
Yeah.
And I used her for like the longest time. She's a really good blade. Like
she's freaking Cosmos.
She's like a sniper. She's badass. But yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I think Alvis is like, if it is actually connected, because there's no real connection between the Xeno games. There's just like connective tissue in terms of like ideas and concepts.
It's kind of like Final Fantasy.
In a way, but even Final Fantasy, like, Final Fantasy is different because there are actual like canonical sequels, like Final Fantasy IV as a sequel to Final Fantasy II, and Final Fantasy Dissidia is a prequel to Final Fantasy 1, and Final Fantasy 7 is a sequel to Final Fantasy 10. Like, those are canonical, like, realities.
Wait, 7 is a sequel to 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry
I
about
don't
it.
want. I'm not gonna.
But
I'm not gonna worry my brain.
everything else
with
is like connected through like, you know, interdimensional rifts, and there's not really any connection. But the Xeno series, there's like, it's just concepts. Like, oh, there's a few concepts here and there shared, but there's enough there for like some fun headcanon. So
it seems like the closer you get to the end of these games, the more they all kind of fit together a little more. I feel like on the surface they're all like so different, but once you like get deeper and deeper into it, you're like, oh, this is, because like I remember playing the beginning of Xenosaga and just the like spaceship. Because okay, so just to recap, we have so yeah, we defeat Mumkar, blah blah blah, falls into the sea, everything happens. They, you know, Fiora wakes up and she's like, my first kiss. And then he's like, Fiora's back, blah, 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 but her body's all fucked up. So they got to go to the city, and it's a bunch of Mechon who are Machina, who are the metal people who are not evil, who are actually good. And then the old
people, the original inhabitants.
We do all that, and we meet Egil's dad, and Egil's dad is like, go kill the motherfucker. And then his sister's
why is he so fat? How does a robot get fat? Tell me that.
Ask your boy.
He reminded me of, sorry to interrupt you, but he reminded me of Norg from Final Fantasy VIII. I don't know, whenever I see a big fat thing on a floating chair, I'm like, that's Norg.
Or like the leader of the Gungans.
Yes, Baba, what is his name? Boss Nass. There you go.
Boss Nass.
Boss Nass.
What a name. It sounds like a car dealership.
Come on down to Boss Nass. We got
come on down to Boss Nass. We'll get you set up. We'll get you crazy. We'll get you good deals.
No money down. Yeah.
So then he tells you to kill his son Egil, and Egil's the ones we're talking about, the golden Mechon. So obviously that's going to be the boss Mechon, because after gold, where do you go, right? So you go into the big empty fucking inside of the Mechonis to find Egil. And long story short, you find him. Long story short, you find him, and you fight Egil. And this was the boss that I died at the most, because I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do. Because what I really didn't like is how you were only attacking his front, and I was like, my whole battle is like a side attack, back attack. Like, what the fuck? I can only attack his front. And I didn't realize that these drones were coming out that I had to destroy before. Yeah. And he targets. You know, because obviously you have, you know, you're on Mechonis, and he puts himself into the suit of the Mechonis. So he's literally Power Ranger inside of Mechonis, and Bionis is just still dead, right? And so we have this basically kind of this battle of the Titans, or one side is fighting a dead side.
You have to stop. You have to stop him
from cutting the Bionis in half, even though what he's doing is kind of makes sense after you like. I love it. It's crazy. When I was playing that, I was like, "Yeah, this fucking idiot. Why would he do that?" And then I'm like, "Oh shit, I get it." And then one of my favorite parts of the game, if not my favorite part of the game, is once you beat Egil and Shulk jumps up there and he's like going to fucking kill him, and then he's just like, he does the Luke Skywalker thing. He's like, "No, I'm not gonna fight you." And then what I love, this is my favorite thing, I think, because I love small shit, just weird small things really appeal to me. And when Shulk just sets the Monado down and just sits down on top of the fucking Mechon suit that he's wearing, it just sits on his shoulder, and just like,
let's talk it out, bro.
Let's fucking talk, man. I love that so much. He just like chilled, dude. He was just like, what are you fighting for? Like, what do you do? You know, why do you know, let's talk this out. Like, you know, and then when he's like, I'm beaten, I might as well fucking talk it out. And then we realize that his motives aren't crazy. And then we see that
he's just been driven crazy by the truth.
And so he's driven crazy by the truth. And then we see a gunshot, Shulk, boom, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you're like, well, what happened?
When that gunshot happened, I knew it was Dixon, because he's the only person who uses a gun. That was such a smart way to do it, because like the only person we've ever seen use a gun, you hear this gunshot, and you're like, son of a bitch.
Oh, you damn kids in my way. Dude,
you little brat. I was like, oh, you're perfect.
Oh, man.
It's like, I love him when he wasn't a villain, but I love him even more.
His voice is totally villainous, but like he just came off as that cool man. Yeah. And you never thought like he was going to be a villain, but it's like, and then he shoots Shulk with the rifle, and Shulk like falls down, and then Zanza comes out of Shulk, and you realize that Shulk has never been real. Yeah. He's been just a shell.
Classic JRPG.
Yeah.
The main character is not a real person.
Wait, you know it's funny, and I'll get to it in a second, but like there's that meme that's like find it's like what is it, like JRPGs be like, it's like find 10 chocolate chip cookies is your first mission, and then at the end of the game it's like kill God. And I'm like, that is the most that
is I think about that often, about how like
that is the most Xenoblade Chronicles thing ever. It's just like, because there's a thing in the beginning where you're trying to find like a recipe for some fucking like biscuits or some shit, and at the end of the game you're literally killing God.
Yeah, a god.
A god.
That's
that's their god.
It's really, I don't know. I find it fascinating. Like the Japanese culture is so enthralled with like Judeo-Christian imagery and namings, and they're just like really enamored by it culturally, and it's really interesting because like I mean before Buddhism went over there, I mean it was just like kind of like an animalistic like animal spirits and like elemental spirits, like that was like their spirituality, and it's just, it kind of makes sense in a weird way. It's like that they're like JRPGs kind of focus in on like rejecting this oneness, you know what I mean? It's like no, it's like, I don't know, it's like a weird like pantheistic rejection of like monotheism. I don't know. I find it fascinating.
Do you fight a god or do you fight fate? You know what I mean? Like you always fight like
fighting
fate and God. It's like
it's
like Chrono Trigger,
super fascinating. Yeah, it's always fighting fate,
and it's crazy.
I wonder why. I write an essay about that because it's super
great topic.
It's always
So Shulk dies. And the creator comes out of him, and it's like what did I write down in my notes? I don't even have my notes, but I wrote it down. It was Super Saiyan Shulk, right? Because dude has like long. It was like
Shulk, but he hasn't had a haircut in a couple months.
it's like super long hair Shulk, like glowing wings.
It wasn't that long. It was like to his shoulders.
I am Zanza, and basically he's a god who's been hiding inside of a shell that they basically seek out before. Because they can't exist very long without their shell, just like Lady Mayneth is hiding inside of Fiora, and then you have this cool battle between Lady Mayneth and Zanza, where like they fight each other, and it's this crazy meta thing because you're like it's Shulk and Fiora fighting each other, but they're not Shulk and Fiora. They're two gods, machine. They're each Titan.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to have, in a Xeno game, you have to have ancient reincarnated souls put into the main characters' bodies unknowingly, and then like they have to define their own.
That's rape.
That's non-consensual soul transmigration. Okay.
And
I loved it. Like,
and then of course he's about to kill her, and then Lady Mayneth uses her power to kind of just like stop the situation, and then he flies off, and you got to escape or whatever, and then
then like he discovers, like she defends him with her Monado, whatever that means, and then she dies and he takes it from her, whatever.
And then it becomes very Kingdom Heartsy, where he has like the two keyblades.
I've got two blades now,
and it's just like I love when video games, like the last boss is just the most like colorful shit ever. They add all the colors. They're like, what color is he? It's like, well, he's gonna be red and blue and fucking green and rainbows. And that's like they do that in so many Japanese games where the last boss is just like so color. There's so many colors happening because it's like you're
just really intricately designed.
Yeah, it's like your senses are in overdrive. Like,
I mean, look at the final form of Kefka. What the hell is going on there? It's just this like tower of creatures, things, angels, demons, people, animals, creatures. Just this tower of like, what the fuck is going on there? I don't know, but it looks super cool.
It's super cool, and every single and so then Dixon says, "Meet me at the prison tower." I mean, Prison Island.
First of all,
meet me at Prison Island, boy.
Can I just say how amazing it is that like this game has all these like cool sci-fi fantasy sounding names and terms, and it's like Prison Island. Are you telling me that the High Intia couldn't come up with a better name than Prison Island?
Considering the capital is called Alchemoth, which is like the coolest name ever.
That is such a sci-fi fantasy name, and then across in the distance, Prison Island.
Prison Island's next.
So what's up with Prison Island? I don't know. It's a mystery. Wait, what?
It's obviously a prison.
It's obviously a prison island.
Prisonza.
I don't know. I thought I don't know. I kept laughing at that whenever they said Prison Island. I'm like, really, guys? You couldn't come up with a better name. All right.
So Dunban, he baits you into meeting him over there, and of course, Dunban and Mumkar. Dunban, Mumkar, and Dixon were all war buddies, right? So this is basically like realizing that your buddy from World War II, your two best buddies from World War II,
was actually
Nazis the whole time, and you're just like, "Fuck you!" And you're like this decorated war hero who killed tons of Nazis, and they were like, "We were always on their side, boy."
Watch that movie.
So then we get to Prison Island. We fight Dixon. He's the disciple, one of the disciples of Zanza, right? And you realize that there's more. Obviously, Alvis is one of the other ones, but you fight him, and he's like,
his death was cool.
I loved when you first encountered him in the Telethia, and he was driving off, and he was like, "My hands are trembling. I haven't been afraid in years." Like you're like, whoa, that's a cool like. Dixon was a really cool written character.
Because I liked him just as much when he was presented as an ally as much as when he was a villain. Like I liked him just the same.
That's
not done very well very often.
He reminds me a little bit of Ocelot in some ways.
But it would have been Ocelot if like he turned out to be actually good at the end.
Well, yeah, he does have so he's like, "I'm the descendant of Xanza." So he shows his Xanza form. So he clearly was a giant, because the giants were just like the original beings of this planet. Not planet. I keep saying planet, but the original beings of the Bionis, right? Bionis. The giants and the Telethia were the only things that existed. And so he uses, of course, JRPG fashion, "My final form." And then you fight him in his Titan form, and then his giant form, and then you kill him, and then he's like, "You know what? I'm not gonna do this. It's not worth my life." And he's like, "Where did this boy get so strong?" And he starts walking off, and he just like shrugs, and he like puts his back against the wall, and he just slides down, and he's sitting there smoking a cigar, and you're like walking away. You're walking away, and it's either Melia or Fiora. One of them says his wounds, or is it Charlotte?
Yeah, it was someone.
It was one of them. I think it was Charlotte, because she's the medic. That would make the most sense for her to notice it. But she's like, "Shulk, his wounds," and then he's like, and then they just keep walking, and I loved that he was like, I'm not gonna let them see me die, like that. So he was like mortally wounded, and he was gonna die, but he was just like, he wasn't gonna. He was just like, he'd rather be like, "I'm not going to bother with you. I'm going to walk over here and pretend that I'm okay," and just totally die.
Yeah. He's just like, "I give up. Bye, Zanza. I totally retire." Oh, shit. I'm dying.
He's like, "Don't let them fucking see me."
Yeah, I really enjoyed his death scene. I thought it was
Definitely not dying, boy.
I don't know, like Shulk is a really interesting character. Actually, the whole cast is really interesting because it takes a lot of those what you expect out of especially more modern JRPGs of like the brooding heroes and like the moody people with multiple personalities. No, Cloud is nothing like it. Don't say that. Cloud's not like that.
No, he's not. He's at the beginning. It's
it's like literally like the first like 10 minutes. But you know what I'm talking about. Like that kind of like moody hero. None of the characters are like that. It's really refreshing just to see like actual optimistic good people in a JRPG. Like with Shulk, it's just like like you said with old Eggle. He just sat down. He's just like, let's talk it out, bro. Let's have a rock talk.
I love that, man, because he sat. he made a power move by sitting on his armor. He just like sat on his shoulder. And was like, let's talk it, bro.
Like they easily could have just finished off Dixon at that point, but Shulk was just like, no, like we're gonna be different than our creator
I love
by
that
having mercy. You know,
they didn't beat it into your head either. They just said, she just says Shulk his wounds. That's it. They didn't say anything else after that, and then they walked off.
It reminded me of Batman Begins, where he's like, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you.
Yeah. Pretty much. In a lot less ham-fisted way.
Yeah, it's a lot less ham-fisted, but it was the same kind of sentiment of like, yeah, you can't save everyone, but you don't have to kill, but you don't have to save every single person. Some people get their comeuppance.
And yeah, Shulk, I guess he does have the Batman thing where he's like, I'm not going to kill you, but if you're going to like just be a piece of shit and die over there, then that's like fine.
There's mercy, and then there's me being a pushover. Okay, I'm giving you mercy.
So then after Dixon, which was a great encounter, we go and we go into the inside of the Bionis through the wound. Right, they're like the only way into it is the wound of the sword that penetrated him in the first place.
Caused by Eggle, which is was it Eggle? Yeah, it was Eggle who did that, or was that the original?
I think it's the old wound.
It's the old wound.
It's the old wound from the original war between them. And you go down into the thing and you're in the heart of Bionis, and then you find a homegirl with the Telethia. She tries to fight you.
I think you got it mixed up. I think you go into Bionis first, and then you go to Prison Island.
Oh yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, because then you go. Yeah, because then after you defeat Dixon, Dunban, after you defeat Dixon, then you go
inside the whatever that place used to be. There's like a kitchen and stuff. I'm like, what the heck is this? It's called Prison Island, but I'm guessing that was not Zanza, but like the guy he took over, the giant he took over. I forgot his name.
Oh, the original giant. That was like the nice one.
Yeah, that must have been his home, because it was like this it's basically this mansion with like a kitchen.
Wait, refresh my memory. So you just keep going up Prison Island then, right?
Yeah.
To the spire, right, to the top of it.
Yeah.
But what do you? I'm blanking on what happens between Dixon and then when you get to Zanza.
Nothing. You just walk up.
Or do you just teleport into space? Is that what happens? You just go into a teleporter and then you're in space.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and then because then you go into the teleporters, then you go to space. You're in this cosmic.
Okay, when I first like that was probably one of my favorite that's going to be in my brain forever as one of my favorite moments, because like I don't know, I just finished watching 200001.
Oh, I always love any game where
I'm just like and it's just like sad.
And what's funny is you messaged me, and I wasn't there yet. You were passing on the game, and you messaged me. You were like, "This game needs a photo mode," and I was like, "Yeah, I know," but like I've been thinking that from the beginning of the game, and then like I got there, and I was like, "This is when Anselmo was saying this."
I was like,
"Photo mode."
Like photo mode,
and that was also cool. It was also cool because you realized we were in the solar system. We were in our solar system.
You just get closer and closer.
We weren't in some weird random planet or something. We were
at least, like, we are, because it's a brand new universe altogether. But the fact that like right when you saw Saturn, you're like, oh, it makes you think like, am I on Earth? Was I on Earth the whole time? I mean, you're not, but like at least
what are you on? What I never quite got that. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll
So-
get there.
So then you find the spirits of all the like past Mechon, all the faces.
Yeah, I'm
right?
guessing that was weird. I'm like, what's the deal with you
It's
fighting?
the classic like Mega Man / Ocarina.
They were
of
like
Time
significant weaker
things.
though. Oh, it was strange.
Oh yeah, they were really.
But like,
I think they were just
narratively, I'm like,
thematically there.
why are they here?
I think they were just there for like.
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, you kind of fight them, and then you get to Zanza, you know, and there's Zanza, and he's like, "You mortals can't beat me," and then
I'm a god.
I'm a god, and then you know, obviously, you start damaging him, and he's like, "How can you be attacking me? How can you be damaging me?" And then obviously that fake Monado that he has turns into a real Monado, which it you know shows you that it was never the sword that let him see things. It was always just his.
That's why, because his willpower, right? That's why
Yeah,
I think that Alvis at least is representative of that computer system that controlled the Zohar. Because I mean, that's pretty much what the whole thing was. It was like that computer program allowed people to use their will to create realities.
and that's exactly what we had.
Yeah,
here.
that's exactly what happened. It's like, okay, so everyone has within them a Monado, I'm guessing. Like the Monado is basically the personification of their willpower.
It's kind of like Kingdom Hearts, right? I mean,
in a way, but a lot more digestible.
Yeah, a lot more.
a lot less of
the story.
lot less of friendship and darkness.
The writer knew the story.
Yeah, he actually knew where he was going. So yeah, like, you know, he gathers enough willpower to be like, I have my own Monado. You're like, what? You can't have a Monado. It means one. How could there be 3 ones? Trinitarian reference.
What I liked about this is because they make you they show you that they've crafted this like anti-Mechon blade that, you know, is similar to the Monado, but like obviously he doesn't have it anymore. And you know, it's like he uses this. Yeah, it's basically like he becomes so ingrained with the idea of him being the master of the Monado. It doesn't matter that
because he's constantly called heir of the Monado, heir of the Monado.
It doesn't matter that he's not holding the actual Monado. It's just whatever fucking sword he's holding at that time is going to, you know, turn into a weapon, the divine weapon or whatever. His soul weapon or whatever they call it, you know. But
his willpower to fight against fate.
And how could there be 3 Monados? And I think it's because because you see, is it after you defeat him that you see the like what actually happened?
Yeah,
like the actual like the space journey and all that. So then we defeat him in what is very much a JRPG Final Battle 101, like
3 forms. I wish there was more forms because it was like 3 phases, but
3 phases.
I would have liked different forms. But that's just me being spoiled.
He was slowly becoming. He looked more like the Bionis, and so at the end, you were basically fighting like the Bionis himself.
Yeah.
And then, but it was cool when Shulk. I'm a big sucker for like anime shit like this, where like Shulk just runs up and like does the like all the way down him, you know, and he just like splits him in half.
Yeah, who doesn't?
That's fucking.
Yeah, that was dope.
Come on, man. I have a hubris. I have a hubris. I just want to see that shit sometimes, you know. But like, yeah, and then we see what actually happened.
Like Alvis is like, yeah, Alvis.
Oh yeah,
this nice little exposition dump about,
which is really cool because it's not on the nose when he's giving exposition because he's a computer.
Yeah.
You know, like he would explain it.
That's exactly what computers do. We ask for answers. We ask for something, and the computer gives
and there's even a part early on where Schultz goes, "Are you?" And then they just cut away when he's talking to Alvis. You know, when he's saying, "Is this your world or theirs? Is this like, are you going to make that choice? Like, what are you going to do?" And like Alvis clearly is never good or bad. He's always been neutral. And when they're like,
he does whatever the user wants, you know.
when they see Alvis, and that's why, like, of course, when they see Alvis go to the side with, you know, Dixon and shit, and they're like, like, really, Alvis is with them too? Is like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
And Shulk is just like, stop, just
trust
stop.
me. Okay.
Like, because Alvis, he knows that Alvis was not there to. He doesn't purely exist to destroy Shulk. He's there to just ensure another civilization, because the one that's the current god is collapsing on himself.
Yeah,
he's becoming too powerful. He needs to cleanse himself.
Yeah, even Zanza was a sympathetic villain as well, because it's like, I mean, it's said multiple times, like, yeah, he's distorted and he's murderous and he wants to consume the life forms he created to renew his body, another xenotrope. But, like, he did it because he was lonely. He did it because he wanted a friend. He wanted friends. He wanted oneness. Isn't that what we all want? We all want a sense of oneness. We want unity with people. Mm-hmm. That's all Zanza wanted. He's just, was willing to destroy an entire population of species.
It's crazy to think that if Zanza would have gotten a friend, or would have actually had some sort of cathartic experience with another person, like, would he have even become that, like, power hungry, or would he have been more like,
it might have been inevitable, because he I guess him and Lady Mayneth, I mean, they Mayneth created the Machina, or at least she created the life forms on Mechonis, and Zanza created all the life forms that were on Bionis. I mean, they did it willfully. I don't really know why. I mean, they obviously had a falling out.
That was probably my only thing with the story that I still don't quite get, that I might need to read further into, is how did it go from them, like, saying, hey, let's create this thing, and it was like they were just two scientists, and then all of a sudden they have, like, Titans that exist on this planet, and I was like, wait, how did it get there?
My headcanon is Earth, obviously, 2000 XX, whatever Mega Man reference you want to do. Mm-hmm. They have this, whatever object. I mean, they probably won't call it the Zohar. That might be, I don't know. It
really reminded me of the intro of Xenosaga 1 when they were on that ship. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. But, like, my headcanon is they're on this space station. They're working with the Zohar, whatever they call it. They have the Alvis program that's like the interface. Zanza, or whatever his Klaus. That was his name, Klaus. Klaus is the main project leader or whatever. They seem to be doing it to fight against something. They seem to be doing it to, like, protect the Earth or fight against something. I mean, that connects it to Xenoblade Chronicles X in a little bit too. But they're messing with it, and in doing so, they end up destroying the entire universe.
Whoops.
Sorry. Whoopsie.
They destroy the universe or the solar system?
The universe. The known universe. They don't know the known universe.
Oh, okay.
Into nothingness. And all that's left is Klaus, and I don't know what her original name is. Mayneth. Whoever becomes Lady Mayneth.
So they're the progenitors of essentially, like, a new universe. And from what I could tell, the universe is just this endless sea. I don't know if... Yeah, because I was like, are they on a planet?
I don't think they're on a planet. I think...
So how are we seeing the planets then?
Because when we see those planets, those are just... I mean, they even call it, like, a memory something. Like, it's just Zanza's memories. Yeah.
We're just in Zanza's, like, fucking, like, holographic room or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I mean, I'm guessing, whenever Klaus was alive, I mean, they had interplanetary travel. So
and clearly those scientists were from Earth originally.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah. So then then all that's left in this new universe is just water, like a primordial sea, and then Klaus and Mayneth, and I guess they personified themselves as Bionis and Mechonis. I'm not sure exactly how.
I mean, it seems like maybe they both like woke up like in those bodies of the Titans, and then they immediately just started like fighting each other, or maybe like maybe they were like I don't know. There's a lot to kind of unpack with that.
There's a lot to speculate because I mean, because she was obviously they were on that space station. She was obviously like, don't do it. Don't blow up the universe. Don't destroy the universe. So maybe that's maybe that's the core of the whole dispute of this entire universe is one going, you shouldn't have done that, and the other going like, I don't care. I'm God now. Later.
One theme I love in this game was the fact that there's always the light versus dark, and there's always the assumption that light is the good and dark is the bad. But in this game, it flipped that on its head, where because the machine is bad.
Yeah, you immediately think you see these mindless Mechon, you're like, oh well, they're obviously the bad guys because
and this beautiful planetary, like or Earth like Bionis is the good light or whatever. But like at the end, it turns out that the light side was bad and the dark side was actually the good guys.
Yeah, or rather the light side. Was used wrong. Used wrong. Well, again, like you have these beautiful things.
It just throws your conceptions out.
Yeah, because I mean, you have these beautiful things like friendship and unity. Those are beautiful things, just like the beautiful fields and the beautiful creatures of the Bionis. But that could easily, just like friendship and unity, that could be used in terrible ways. But yeah, I loved the whole Telethia thing. The whole like
that it's the cycle, that it's like why are you upset that they're Telethia? The Telethia became the
which it's kind of gross when you think about it, because the two original life forms were the giants and the Telethia. The only way for the Telethia to become what would eventually become the Hyentia was if giants banged Telethia. Let's just let that sink in.
Yeah, I mean, you get lonely.
Hey, we all want unity, all right?
Well, no, he did say something about they become the Hyentia because of when the Telethias like lose their power or become weak. They created that race for the Telethia to basically hide out until they're powerful again to return back to Telethia.
Until there's enough ether in the.
So maybe it was like more of a de-evolution kind of thing, where the Telethia eventually like evolved into the Hyentia only to recycle back. Yeah. But either way, man, yeah, this is one of the best games I've ever played.
Now I really want you to play Xenogears because I'm probably
going
to replay it.
I bought it.
I'm going to replay it again.
I see. My thing is like I'm totally down to play Xenogears, and I actually want to go. I want to go back and finish Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Torna, and obviously the.
Yeah, I do want to finish 2 because, I mean, it's a numbered sequel, so I'm sure that by the end there's going to be like, connections.
Yeah, and now that I have the context that I do have, I feel like I'm going to enjoy it more.
Same.
I'm also just kind of on this kick, and there was a few things where when I was playing Pokemon earlier today, and I was just I was like running around in the field, and I'd see a Pokemon, and I was trying to target them, and like let's attack them. What is happening? Oh, I have to do this turn-based shit. Like I didn't realize how much I liked the battle system in Xenoblade Chronicles until I started playing Pokemon today. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I love turn-based battles, but it's just like, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, pure turn-based, it's pretty I had to be in the mood for a pure turn-based.
Yeah. But anyways, I absolutely love this game. I recommend it to every Switch owner that has any sort of interest in RPGs or
do you like
amazing storylines.
Do you like stories? Do you like
I don't necessarily know
battling?
that you even need to love RPGs because it's such it's got the action RPG style combat. Yeah, I mean, it's like you said. I think
do you like
probably,
offline MMOs?
Yeah, offline MMOs. I do.
Do you like MMOs but hate the online part of MMOs?
It reminded me more of something more like KOTOR or Final Fantasy 12 than like an MMO, but I do get the comparison.
Yeah, but those are comparable. Those are comparable to MMOs.
Yeah, true, and I think it's because the auto attack it's one of those things where
for me it
makes so much sense because what it does is why should you be focused on doing your generic attacks?
Yeah.
Your generic attacks are happening automatically. And while you're doing that, you're able to select your special attacks and your positioning and your cooldown. And like, I also love that somebody came out and they said, dude, change your controls. And they're like, instead of like the D-pad left and right, map that to L and R.
Oh, that's
so that
genius.
way you can constantly be moving around while you're switching between and you're not having to take your hand off the thumbstick.
Yeah, I hated them on the D-pad.
It was a rock paper shotgun, the site that got IGN plagiarized. The Dead Cells review. Yeah, it was that website. They came out and they had this really cool tip, and I was like, this is such a good tip. Like, I haven't heard anyone say this or talk about it.
I didn't even know you could remap, honestly.
Yeah, you can inherently remap. You can go to controls for the Switch and like remap anything to anything. So you can have you can click the left stick and that'll be like the trigger. You know what I mean? Like you can do anything. So, did you have any other thoughts before we head on?
Let's see. No, it was awesome.
It was truly a wonderful, awesome sci-fi anime, fucking space, wonderful.
See, that game was a perfect because we were talking at one point about what defines a sci-fi piece of work, and Xenoblade is almost as sci-fi fantasy as you can get.
It was the perfect mixture of fantasy and sci-fi.
Yeah,
just like
perfect blend. So if you like fantasy elements, you like sci-fi elements, you like good stories, you like good characters.
I mean, the only other game I can think of that melds those two as well as that did is probably Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, even that,
And that's another game where the final boss battle takes place in space.
And it's amazing.
Level 1, find grandma's cookie recipe. Level 100, kill God. Thank you for watching. This has been the Critical Beard Podcast. We absolutely put a recommend label on Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, Telethia out of 10.
Telethia out of 10. You heard it here first, folks. We love you. Stay safe and get wasted. On milk.
Bye. I can't pay for this.